Reefers. So this is the progress I've made. See all my plumbing parts down there. So what I did was started with the drains. So I went ahead and glued those unions in there. So that's good. So this will be the far left will be the emergency right here. We'll go into this chamber here. Then this one is the secondary drain right here. It's going to go down into this compartment here where the refugium or the drain compartment is. And this one right here is for, I'm going to hook it up to the reef mat. So reef mat will hang right in this area. But I'm not sure if I'm going to hard plumb it yet or use the tubing that it came with. I think hard plumbing will make it look a lot cleaner, but who knows? We'll see how it fits up and everything. And this is for the return. I always do the plumbing for the return last because I want to make sure the drain plumbing and everything is all set. Also still deciding on how I'm going to plumb the UV, whether if I want to keep it on independent pump by itself or hook it up to one of the two return pumps in here. So not sure yet. Reason for that is because of the flow of the UV. I want to make sure it's slow enough so that way for it can get all the algae and parasites and stuff like that. So it has to be a certain flow rate. So that is the plan. That is the plan so far. And then up here, I did a little bit of plumbing up here on the internal overflow. So this is the emergency here. Still kind of high. I think I'll probably cut it shorter. This is the secondary. I'll worry about that when I have extra plumbing. This one is the main drain right here, which is a bit high. I think I'll make it shorter, but I can adjust that because these pieces in here I'm not going to be gluing. Just because if water does drip down, it'll drip down into the plumbing and the sump anyways. This one right here was very difficult to do because of the angle right here. So I had to make sure the cuts were right and it lined up with this bulkhead here before I stuck it together. But this thing is on the rock solid. I don't think I can even get it out. But still gotta do that for that side there. These pieces will not be glued in, so it doesn't matter. So it doesn't need dry time or anything, but I just gotta figure out the UV now. So I gotta go clean it up. So as soon as I figure that out, I'll be able to complete the plumbing, which will probably be by tomorrow. But that's it for now, Reefers. Thanks, bye. Hey again, Reefers. So, progress for today is I need to figure out where to mount my UV. So, I'm going to mount it up here, hanging upside down horizontally. But the brackets call for me to have a mounting point. So, I had to cut this out right here. So that way I could screw in the brackets up into the plywood I have. Luckily, the plywood's pretty thick at 3 1/4 inch, so it'll be just enough for me to mount the UV brackets there and hang the UV from up top, up above my sump area here. So that's what I'm working on today, and hopefully finish the plumbing. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye. All right, everybody. So got the UV installed. So clamps on there nice and tight. So what's going to happen is I'm going to install a pump for connecting to here. I'm using John Guest fittings, but it's going to pull water from this area right here. This is where the tank drains into. And then it's going to go up over here, go through here, and then I'm going to run another line to drain back into the return the chamber with the return pump, so that way it goes into back up into the tank, so that way it makes a full cycle around the tank. So that's the UV setup. So on to the next plumbing piece. Thanks. What's up, reefers? So I am here cutting some pipe using my Milwaukee PVC shear right here. So just this, pretty much you line it up right here. And you want to slowly line it up. And you cut. Watch your fingers. There you go. That's what you got. Alright, so now I need to glue this piece into here, so that way I can glue it onto the ball valve. So, test fitting it, everything looks good. So now, I use this Oatly Fusion single step cement right here. That way I don't have to use a primer or anything. So, and it dries clear, so looks really nice. See this, I did this one already. And this has only been about less than 10 minutes. So, and it's dries really quick. So, what you need to do, let's see if I can adjust this back further. Trying to stand this up so y'all can see me work. Okay, that might work. Okay, so Oatly Fusion right here. Let's go back further. My videos are unedited, so for the most part unedited, so you're gonna see what I do. All the things I mess up on. So this will go there, this will go on top like that. Or actually go on like this. Actually I could do it like this, that way I don't see the black line. But nah, I'll do it this way, how I originally had it planned. It goes on like this. Put a good amount, good generous amount there, and then just stick this in here. Should push it down all the way in tight. So I'll let this dry for about maybe 5 minutes or so. So that way I can then put it down here. Then let's see, how do I flip the camera? All right, what's up guys? I just glued this piece onto here. So just waiting for it to dry up a bit before I let go, because I'm still pushing up there, pressure up, so that way the piece doesn't fall back down, which sometimes it does, but as long as you hold it for like 30 seconds, should be okay. But while I hold on to that, you guys can take a look at my valves here. But that is the ball valve for the return. One of the returns, I'll probably hook this up to the S2. This is one of the drain that will go into the reef mat. That's the secondary drain, emergency drain. And I still have to put in the other return pipe over there. So once I'm done with that, I'm pretty much done with the main plumbing parts. So tomorrow then I will do a water test, make sure no leaks or anything. So hopefully it's good. All right. Measuring. All right, so another piece that I'm doing is I need to make a curve. So the pipe's gonna go here, then it's gonna go down into the sump. So it needs to look like this. And oh, actually made marks on here already, so that way it matches up. That way I don't mess up, but it goes like that. So made mark there. That way I can see, but I need to cut a 2-inch or 2 1/4 inch piece right here. So that way it can go into there, into the sump. But I need to glue this part onto here first. So gonna glue that. And where did the glue go? Glue again. So I'm gonna glue this onto here. I'm gonna put it in here. You want to stick it in there and just give it a little bit of a twist. That way it's seated perfectly on there. And you want to hold this for about 30 seconds or so. Or at least I do. But looks like it's seated in there nice and tight. So done with that. Hey reefers, so continuation of the plumbing today. I'll be using this Vectra Ecotech Vectra M2 as one of the main return pumps on the system. So I'm gonna hook it up to actually this side over here. So I'm gonna hook it up over there, connect it here, and then I'm using this Vectra S2 as the secondary return pump to go on this side and connect up there. So yeah, that's the plan. But I need to, because the plumbing I have on here, I forgot to buy the barb, the 3/4 inch barb for this. So have to make do with the parts that I have. So the plan is to use this union. It goes on top like that. For me, if you notice the unions, I always like to glue it, so you can use this either way, but I usually like using this where this screw twist off part is face down, so that way when you unscrew it, then gravity kind of just pushes it down to make it easier to take off on and off. So using that, then I have this right here. This is the 1 inch to 3/4 inch adapter, so this one will go on top of there. And then from there on, I got a barb here, and then silicone tubing here, and then another barb here that will glue into this portion right here. So I like using silicone tubes, so that way there's no vibration at all. So that's what I've seen online and stuff, so that's what people do. So that's what I've always done. You could hard plumb it as well too if you wanted, but I think this kind of makes it easier to take on and off for maintenance wise, and less vibration. So tank's gonna be in the garage after, so I think it doesn't even matter, but yeah, I'll be doing that. So that is the plan for this part. Catch you later. All right, reefers, so finally done plumbing this. So just waiting for the glue to dry since I just glued those two pieces back there. But this is what it will look like. Just need to install the pipe here, or the tubing that goes to the reef mat. So it'll screw onto there, but this will be the main drain, the secondary, and then the emergency. Then this is the return. So this is actually the main, I would say this is the main return, since this has the Vectra M2 on there. So it goes around behind there, up here, and there I can control it here with this ball valve. And then another one, the S2, see this is the M2 right there. The S2 is that one there, and it will go up in straight into the other one. So secondary return. So that should be good to go. I'll give it a few hours to dry. I'm gonna try to actually water test it tonight, leak test it tonight, and see if it leaks or anything. Hopefully it doesn't. And then I'm not gonna hook up the UV yet, just because I don't need to, not yet anyways. I need to order a new bulb anyways. So what I'm gonna do is hook up from here going straight down. It'll go sit down there. It'll have, I'm thinking I might use the Mighty Jet, the Innovative Marine Mighty Jet 538 pump, 538 gallons per hour pump. I need to look up the flow rate. I'm not too sure what this is, but I'll look it up. And then it's gonna come here, and then from here, I'm just gonna run a tube so it goes back into here. So that way it drains into the return chamber, and then it goes back into the tank. So, and then it'll go into the tank and then return back down here. So it does the full cycle. And that is pretty much it. So hopefully this dries. I'll give it a few hours and then come back, check all the fittings and connections, and then fill her up with water. See you later. All right, reefers, moment of truth. I'm about to do the leak test right now. So down here, I've plugged in the return pumps. So you got them over here. So you got the Ecotech Vectra M2 and S2, and I added the lock line. This one here, super long. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, because it kind of looks weird. But we got this side here, shorter one. I was thinking shorter one in the front would be less obtrusive. And then this one is just, longer in the back, so that way it can push water down further. So we'll see. I don't know. I might change it out because it looks weird. But then we got this here. We got the plumbing in the back all set up now, as you can see. So I'm gonna cross my fingers, hope everything is good and it doesn't leak. So I'll show you guys in a bit. All right, y'all, so I went ahead and filled this back chamber here up with water. And so this drain right here is completely submerged. This one, the water line went just up to here. And then this is the emergency. So far, it looks good. There's no water in here. This is maintaining the water level. I can tell by the water level right there. And if I look down here, just want to check. I closed off all of the gate valves and the ball valves here, just so that way water can fill up the pipes. And I'm checking for any leaks. so far, I don't see any. Checking all the parts where I glued and everything. All the unions and everything. Definitely always want to check the bulkheads. Sometimes the bulkheads, if you over tighten it or if you use old ones, you can crack it. So luckily, so far nothing. Let's see this one. Nice thing about using your camera, I can zoom in and take a look in hard to reach areas. That's looking good. So what I think I'll do now is I'm gonna open this one. I mean, technically this one here is just the return for the pumps. Open this one up, and then I'm gonna open this key valve here. That's where water will come in through here. So you can hear it. Water should be leaking down. And I should, up here, water should be going down. That is good. And I'm gonna leave it completely fully open for now. All the water's down here. So far, so good. And one important thing to do is check the tank for leaks. So make sure the tank itself is not leaking. I don't want to take out this plastic yet, but so far looks good. I don't want to take the plastic off yet because I don't want to scratch it, but all the seals and everything look good. I would have seen water coming out if there was a leak or anything. And I know John over at Advanced Acrylic, he always does leak tests on his tanks and his products, the ATL container and everything before he sends them out. So it's always good to double check just in case it got damaged in shipping or anything. But yeah, so far looks good. I'm gonna fill up the rest of the tank with water and see how it goes. See you in a bit. Bye. Just filling up the tank here with the hose with regular water. So far, the tank looks really good. No leaks. No leaks so far, thankfully. Been looking around the edges here, and I looked in the back as well. The wood has no wet spots. That is looking good. And down here, plumbing looks good. No water droplets or anything. I filled the sump up here with water so that way I can kind of scrub it down and clean it out a little bit. But yeah, it's looking good. I'm gonna wait for it to fill up and then run the pumps and let it sit overnight, see how everything does. So, catch you later. I turned on the pumps, so this is the max right now, I believe. You can see the max on both of them. Good thing I used both two return pumps. So it looks like the flow is pretty good. So definitely a good pump to use for this size tank. Just draining down there. What's up, reefers? So finally got the tank filled. So as you can see down here, sump is full and running. I was cleaning it up a bit with the razor blade. But I got the 2 pumps in there running. No leaks, which is great. And then up here, up above, got the water running in here nice and clear. Got the 2 returns coming out there. Nice surface agitation. And then the overflow, coast to coast overflow. This is the drains and the return, 2 returns here. The drain, this one right there is the emergency. This one I had to kind of create kind of like a Durso, so that way it wouldn't make that gurgling sound. It was pretty loud, so did that. And then the main drain down here right below, down there. And then I got the Vectras running. I got it running about 33% right now. And then I dialed in the gate valve right here. Dialed in the gate valve so that way it's nice and quiet. And then also the trickling of water from the weir dropping down. Hey, down here. Yep. All right, y'all, calling it night. 11. It's actually 12:42 p.m. or a.m. technically, but I was just kind of messing around with the control board, kind of see how I want it mounted. Not sure yet, but this is kind of the space that I have for it. So we'll see how it goes, but so far so good. Looks like we can drain this tank tomorrow and fill it back up, and with sand and rocks and hopefully fishes. So that is the plan. I want to leave it running for tonight just to leak test it and everything, so should be good. All right, y'all, good night.